The order was clear: evacuate. Now, it echoed through the smoke-filled airfield, sharp and final, cutting through the roar of fire and collapsing steel. Air Force Commander Nathan Hale stood near the command vehicle, headset pressed tight against his ear, eyes fixed on the burning hangar at the far end of the base. Flames clawed into the night sky like something alive. Inside that hangar were fuel lines, ammunition crates, and the remains of an attack that had gone wrong fast. An enemy strike had slipped past early warning systems, turning a routine night operation into chaos. Sirens wailed. Emergency lights flashed red and white, painting the scene in panic. And somewhere inside that inferno, 17 military working dogs. Handlers, pull back. Hade shouted. We're out of time. Most of the handlers had already been dragged away, coughing, eyes burning, hands shaking as they were forced toward the evacuation transports. They fought it. Every one of them did. These weren't just dogs. They were partners, teammates, family. But protocol was protocol, or so everyone thought. The dogs didn't. The first one broke free just seconds after the order cut a Belgian Malinois named Rex, scarred muzzle, dark eyes sharp with purpose, slipped his leash like it had never been there. He didn't hesitate, didn't look back. He ran straight toward the fire. Rex, his handler screamed. Then another dog pulled loose. Then another, in a matter of heartbeats. All 17 dogs bolted as one unit, paws pounding concrete, bodies low, ears pinned back. Not in fear, in determination. No, no, no. Hade shouted. Stop them. But no one moved, because every soldier there knew exactly what the dogs were doing. They weren't disobeying. They were going back for their people. Hours earlier, the base had been calm. The dogs had been resting after a joint patrol, sniffing for explosives, tracking movement beyond the perimeter, doing the invisible work that saved lives before bullets ever flew. Their handlers sat nearby, cleaning gear, joking quietly, unaware that within hours the world would be on fire. Then the alarms hit. Missiles screamed overhead. One struck the fuel storage near Hangar 3. The blast rocked the base, throwing men and dogs alike to the ground. Smoke filled the air instantly. Secondary explosions followed, turning night into hell. Some handlers never made it out. Point 2 were trapped inside when debris collapsed the eastern exit. A third ran back in without hesitation. That was when the dogs had seen it. They remembered the voice commands, the sense, the bond forged through countless missions where survival depended on trust more than orders. SO when the evacuation was called, when humans ran away from the fire. The dogs ran toward it. Commander Hale watched in disbelief as the first dog disappeared into the smoke. Get them back, someone yelled. But no one could. Fire crews were already overwhelmed. The heat was unbearable. The air itself felt like it could kill you. Hale knew the math, knew the odds, and living things should survive in there. And yet, through the smoke, faint shapes moved, low to the ground, fast, weaving between debris. Thermal cameras flickered on screens inside the command truck. Point 17 signatures. Alive. Moving. They're searching, an analyst whispered. Hale clenched his jaw. God help them. Inside the hangar, the world was chaos. Metal groaned as beams warped and collapsed. Flames rolled along the ceiling, dropping burning fragments to the floor. Visibility was near zero. Every breath burned. Rex led the way. Not because he was ordered to, because he remembered the scent of blood and sweat from earlier. The sound of his handler's voice. The place where he had last seen him fall. That he barked once, sharp, controlled. The others answered. They split instinctively, each dog moving with trained precision despite the madness. One crawled beneath wreckage. Another leapt over fallen equipment. Two pressed their bodies against a collapsed panel, clawing until space opened. Then Rex found him, the handler pinned under twisted metal. Barely conscious, breathing shallow. Rex didn't panic. That he lay beside him, licking his face, whining softly, then bit down on the man's sleeve and pulled. When that didn't work, he barked again. The handler stirred. Rex, he whispered. That was enough. Outside, the thermal screen changed. One signature stationary, the analyst said. Then movement. They found someone. Hale said at a cheer almost rose, almost, because the hangar roof cracked and part of it came down. The blast wave knocked Hale backward. Fire surged outward, a rolling wall of heat that forced everyone to retreat further. The evacuation transport engines screamed as pilots prepared to lift off, whether everyone was back or not. Hale grabbed the radio. "All units, we are out of time. Air evac in 60 seconds. He paused, then quieter, dogs included. Inside the hangar, chaos became desperation. One dog yelped as debris grazed her flank. Another disappeared briefly under smoke, reappearing moments later dragging a piece of torn fabric. Proof of life or death unclear. Rex and two others worked together, pulling, pushing, biting at metal until the trap handler was free enough to crawl. Another dog appeared, tugging at his collar, guiding him through smoke he could barely see through. They moved as a team, not trained, bonded. The helicopter hovered low as the first human figure stumbled out of the smoke. Cheers erupted then. Another, then a dog, then two burned fur. Bleeding paws, eyes still sharp. "They're coming back," someone said in disbelief, but not all of them. The thermal screen still showed movement inside. 0.5 signatures, still inside. Hale stared at the screen, heart pounding. "Don't," he whispered. "Please don't." Rex turned back. So did the others. They heard the helicopter, smelled clean air, safety, and ignored it because one handler was still missing, and until every cent they remembered was accounted for, they weren't leaving. The heat became unbearable. Even from the evacuation zone, the air felt thick, poisonous. The hangar was no longer just burning. It was collapsing from the inside out. Steel screamed as it twisted. Ammunition cooked off in sharp, echoing cracks that punched through the night like gunfire. Commander Hale stared at the thermal screen. 0.5 signatures, still inside. 0.5. Thought his headset crackled. "Sir, we have to lift. Structural failure is imminent." Hale didn't answer. His eyes stayed locked on the screen as one of the heat signatures faltered, flickered, then steadied again. "They're still moving," the analyst said, voice barely above a whisper. "They're regrouping." No one spoke. Every person standing there understood what that meant. The dogs weren't lost. They were choosing. Inside the inferno, the world had narrowed to instinct, smoke blinded, heat crushed. Sound was distorted into a constant roar. The remaining dogs stayed low, moving together, bodies brushing, checking each other with quick nudges and brief eye contact learned over years of training and trust. 1 cent was still missing. Handler First Class Miguel Ortega. Rex found it faintly. Blood, sweat, oil, fear. It led deeper into the hangar, toward an area already partially collapsed. Another dog hesitated. The floor groaned beneath them. Rex didn't. He crawled forward, claws scraping molten metal, chest first singed, lungs burning. He barked once, commanding, urgent. The others followed. They found Ortega slumped against a support column, helmet cracked, leg trapped beneath debris. He was conscious, but fading fast. Hey, Ortega murmured, barely aware of the shapes approaching him. "You shouldn't be here." Rex pressed his head against Ortega's chest, grounding him. Another dog moved behind Ortega, pulling at his harness. A third wedged itself beneath the beam, pushing with everything it had. The beam shifted. Not enough. The ceiling above them cracked again. Tom was gone. Outside, the helicopter pilot shouted, "Sir, we're lifting now, or we're losing the bird." Hale clenched his fists on the screen. The 5 signatures clustered together. "They found him," Hale said. The pilot swore. "That hangar's coming down." "I know," Hale snapped. Then quieter, almost broken, "I know." He grabbed the radio. "All units," he said, voice tight. "If you can hear me, you are clear to do whatever it takes." No one questioned who he was talking to. Inside, the dogs didn't wait for permission. 2 of them braced against the beam while Rex and another pulled Ortega's vest with their teeth. Muscle strained. Paws slipped. Fur burned. Ortega screamed as pain shot through his leg. But he was free, barely. The floor behind them collapsed just as they turned. Fire surged. They ran. The first dog burst out of the smoke just as the hangar roof finally gave way. Then another. Then Rex, dragging Ortega forward until human hands grabbed him, pulling him into safety, The final dog stumbled out seconds later, collapsing on the tarmac, paws raw, sides heaving. The hangar collapsed fully. A shockwave rolled across the base. Silence followed. For a moment, no one spoke. Then someone started counting. 14, 15, 16, a pause. Everyone held their breath. Then 17. They were all out. Every single one. Ortega was loaded onto a stretcher, alive, eyes wet as he looked toward the dog being treated nearby. I tried to crawl back, he whispered to the medic. They wouldn't let me stay. Commander Hale walked over, kneeling beside Rex as a vet wrapped the dog's burned paws. He disobeyed a direct order, Hale said softly. Rex looked at him. Tail thumped once against the ground. Hale swallowed. Good. The story spread. Not officially, not in press releases, but among soldiers, among handlers, among anyone who had ever trusted their life to a dog who couldn't speak, but always answered. 17 military working dogs who ran in a fire when ordered to leave. Not because they were trained to, but because loyalty doesn't understand evacuation orders. Weeks later, a small ceremony was held, and no cameras and no speeches. Just handlers standing beside their dogs. Commander Hale pinned commendations where he could, on harnesses, on collars, on the hands of men who owed their lives to paws and teeth and courage without fear. When Hale spoke, his voice cracked only once. These dogs did not follow orders, he said. They follow their hearts. And because of that, no one was left behind. Rex sat calmly, scarred but unbroken. Chosen. Pushpin, this true-style military story is brought to you by the channel. Her Brave Stripes Fire. Subscribe for stories of courage, loyalty, and sacrifice beyond the battlefield. Speech balloon comment below. Where are you watching from?